Alright, in theory, we should be live now. Everything should be working. Please bear with me just one moment. As usual, I have to make sure the YouTube side of things is working. I know it's probably not. I'm sure this is one of those things where I am just not taking the optimal path, but, you know, I'm doing what I'm doing here. Anyways, yep, everything looks to be good right now. Awesome. So, in between this stream and the last stream, I was planning to be back a little bit earlier than this. However, there has been some family dynamic changes, and, you know, here I am having to do the uncle thing, you know, watch my brother's kids, deal with some of the family slack as it's coming up. So, I apologize for the delay, as is almost always the case. You know, welcome to the real world, I guess. In between streams, though, as far as this game goes, I did kind of clear out some of the news, some of the information. I wanted to go through the board and clean this up. Right now, one moment, please. Right now, as I went through a lot of this, there really wasn't a lot of major information that is, you know, not delivered through the game in a better sense. There were some people talking about, like, the FMD goggles. Obviously, I talked about that in the last stream. I forgot to mention the grunty scenario. And we are not going to get to know what exactly a grunty is fully until I am saying a lot, and I apologize for that. We're not going to get to know what a grunty is until later when we get to go visit the other servers. I believe we had an email in the last episode where they basically said, hey, so given all of the issues going on. Hey, Rich, how are things going? Hopefully things are going well. I know you oftentimes have some things going on. Hopefully things are good in the meantime. As I was getting off there for a minute, we left off having to go meet the interesting cat character. I know where she's located at in the server. Luckily, if you look at the map, it's not a particularly large area. I did go through a couple of missions, and you can see I leveled up. I also got some new gear, and I heavily focused on finding things to try and help build out my stats a little bit, getting my accuracy up as high as I can. I talked about my preference on that in the last stream. One of the things I do want to say that I like about these older games, and it's something that you still see from time to time, but a lot of games these days, if they have a system where your gear has levels as well as your player character, they do this thing that I can only assume it's in some attempt to maintain balance between people who have friends who are like massive players of the game and people who are not. And while I understand that, especially in online games, which this is emulating, personally, for people playing games that are single player, which even though this is emulating an online experience, I, you know, understand that this is the first person element to that. So one of the things I was wanting to talk about is I very much appreciate that even though I'm level 10, I can have level 11 weapons. And if I go through the gear here, you can see this is one of the things I was wearing prior to. But I've got gear that's sitting at level 22 here. Hey Rigid, welcome to the stream. How are things going? Hopefully things are going well for you. What do you got going on? I was over here refreshing the page like 5 times in anticipation for this. I don't know why. You know, I am gonna just say I greatly appreciate that. Yeah, it might just be that the day was mundane. I have found myself doing that for some people on some things. There is another group, I say group, it's sisters, that I know play a lot of games as well. And I might go back in the Discord later and tag their channel in the Discord. They played through .hack Infection recently, and I have been following that group since very early on. And I will say I never expected either of them to play .hack, let alone to, when they started playing, end up saying, oh, by the way, I grew up playing this game too. If you don't know, .hack is a very niche RPG. So the fact that they were not only, you know, fans of the series, but one of them was a fan of the series, but grew up playing the game as well, was a really fun treat. And so, when they were playing those, every time I see that stream come up, that's one of the ones that I do sit there and do the same thing on. So maybe it's just, you know, for me, the situation was, yes, the series, but also seeing somebody excited to play something that they know well and are deeply into.
I found a great area that's full of aromatic grass.
Oh, hold up. I got double audio here.
Sure. Okay, let's get ready then.
Alright, sorry about that. I'm sure you probably heard some of that. We should be down to one audio channel now.
Excuse me.
I apologize. I feel mostly better than I did yesterday. As I said in the Discord, I might have COVID. Yeah, if you're at that, I want to know, what are your, without getting into the grotesque, what are your symptoms and how bad is it? Because as I understand it right now, the strings of COVID that are floating around are a lot more, I don't want to say subdued. They are still, it's still a serious illness, but it's not nearly as lethal or, for lack of a better term, butt-kicking as the early iterations during the pandemic were. From what I understand, the subsequent strains that have constantly come and gone have basically been, the virus seems to be naturally developing in a way to reduce its lethality, but propagate its ability to spread. So while it's more viral, it's less severe than its original iterations when those all came out. Making dinner, chicken nuggets and tater tots, always good. Also, today I learned that Patreon has been taking money from my, ooh, ho ho ho. Really? I didn't know that. I figured if you were out, it would have just naturally, PayPal would have just said, basically, hey, the money's not here, we're going to send you a message and cancel your subscription. I wouldn't think they'd be constantly rechecking on the charging until the day you just kind of had money. Especially knowing that, you know, in recent times, you and I are a bit in the same boat. I actually still have some of my Patreons set and renewing, but I have definitely reduced my payments into something more reasonable. I do want to do a quick little check around to see who's got what and see if anybody's got any good trades available. Hey, Binky! Love this guy. There are a few characters that exist in this game that for whatever reason I still remember them. Binky is one of them, and I think it's just because, again, it's a really goofy name. One of the other things I will mention as far as the player characters go in this game, I remember pretty much all of them. However, alright, I think I'm pretty well stocked for where we're going to be. There might be a few good items roaming around here and there, but I'm not sure there's going to be anything major. Anyways, the available items to trade will go through set rotations that will change as I continue doing areas, leveling up, and continuing the story. So there is an element of not only the items you get in the areas you go, you know, being somewhat attuned to the level you're going to be at, but also, as we saw in the last stream, data draining is a feature in the game. You're going to get various things like items and data cores and things like that. The items you get can be picked from a roster that exists within the enemies there. So by data draining as many enemies as you can as you go through, you're going to build up your item roster, first of all, for the ability to trade for anything you're not going to have need for, but also being able to equip yourself with what you get there, and every so often you can find things that are really high level for what you should be looking at getting. So you can build out your gear and equipment that way as well. All right, let me go through this here. Symptoms: forever runny nose, and I did have. Not going to read that out loud, just for the sake of, you know, not needing to emphasize that. So yeah, it very well might be, but luckily it sounds like, if anything, these are probably very flu-like symptoms. Hopefully it's not going to be anything to, you know, run you into the ground for too long. I'm not complaining about the Patreon thing, to clarify. I did want to support those YouTubers again. Yeah, that's the same place I'm at, you know, even though I'm currently, you know, with very, very minimal income. I still want to be able to support what I can, where I can, as I can, to the extent that I can. And I do have some people that, you know, that have grown to be pretty close to me on a personal level on that list there, so I do want to be able to help out in those situations where I can as well. Speaking of Patreon, I just recently started supporting Rebel Taxi on there. I bet that's probably in part because of the animation project, which also means good on you supporting something that is going to be growing into something pretty massive there too. And that makes 2 people you support on there. By the way, I just bought a can of Form Energy. I've never even heard of that. It's a brand I never tried. It's a rocket pop flavor called Screaming Freedom. Well, if you're gonna have to steal from the old red, white, and blue popsicles, you know, that's a way to go about it. All right, so we do have that, but I don't think I didn't pay attention to the cutscene. So I'm gonna log out and see if maybe something has changed on the board, or if somebody sent me an email. This is one of those things that you're gonna do a lot in this game. When you reach a point where things seem to have slowed down, you are gonna have to check for information in various other areas. So I did see that there was a new board post. I just wanted to check the email too while I was out here. Not only are you going to get information here, you are also going to get personal emails that are going to be sent to you. And while it's not a major thing to miss out on some of those, there are some really fun character flavor engagements you can get there. You can also speak, you know, they're going to ask you things like hobbies and things, and you can actually respond like you would, and they'll keep it going as best they want. It's a really fun little, you know, I don't want to say player to player, but player to character engagement to help sell the idea of you building out your roster with people you're supposed to actually be getting to know in the game. Author Tao. I saw a strange character in the dungeon of expansive... 1 minute. Expansive haunted sea of sand. It was a little girl with long hair, but it didn't look like another player. She was kind of white, like a ghost, and moved without a sound. Oh, and the music might have stopped too. I could be mistaken, but if anyone sees her, please tell me. So we found out a sighting of our girl Aura, which, by the way, if you have, if anybody stops in and is not paying attention, that is the girl that I am using as the thumbnail there. Alright, Kyogoku. I heard that there was a test version of the world before it came out. Has anyone played it? Anything else here? Okay, Waffle's another one of those characters that I remember distinctly in the root towns that you can run into. I tried a random keyword, but a warning message came up. This is a big one. I think it was Closed Oblivious Twin Hills. Anyone know anything about it? So that is one of those big ones that we're going to delve into here in a bit. And some new information. I believe this is trying to explain a little bit of information about making keywords, but I'll go through a little bit of that as I did some of that through my playing this game in between streams, which was really just me trying to build out items, trade out for better gear, and level up a little bit, really just so that when the stream happens, I can streamline into the story stuff here. Alright, I'll go through that in a second. But yeah, as you go through, one of the things I'll often do is pick whatever group I want to go through. And you can kind of gauge what level ballpark you're going to be looking at. So it's possible I might have something in here that could go up to about 20. It looks like it was like, what, 17 was the highest? So yeah, if I wanted to go through and get some experience, level up, and grind for items and gear, this is a great way to do it. When we go through a dungeon, I'll also show a little trick for anybody wanting to play this game that might not know that there are certain ways you can exploit the dungeon mechanics. If you pay attention while you go through a map, you'll pick up on what happens, but there are a few specific rooms that when I come across them will make certain things available. Anyways, I should probably build out my party before I just start darting off. So let's add Black Rose.
Okay, here I come.
I just took a sip. It goes the hardest on the blueberry flavor compared to everything else. So I'm a fan of blueberries, but when it comes to blueberry drinks, I do find that blueberry as a... If blueberry is your primary flavor, you're playing with fire. It can go really good or really bad. So I gotta ask, if blueberry is the hardest flavor it's hitting with up front, is that a good thing? The initial taste is lemon. Look, lemon and blueberry go hard. That's why it works out so well. Before it fakes you out with the cherry and punches you across the face with blueberry. Complete with an aftertaste that reminds me of a blueberry muffin. I bet that's the lemon and the blueberry working together. A lot of those blueberry muffins that I grew up with have a little bit of lemon acidity in them. That's just the way I grew up with them. When my dad would make them, he would actually make a lemon, like, frosting that he would drizzle on top. So there was no lemon in the cupcake, but you would have that lemon frosting sitting on top. And of course, the rich, thick, actual, not frozen, dehydrated, garbage blueberry poppers that you find in a bag of oatmeal, but like real Michigan blueberries. My dad was hard on that. Like the actual... One of the things that I grew up, you know, hearing from my parents all the time is Michigan is the place for berries. We also do some really good cherries. All right, so I want to check out this protected area. We're going to see the effect in play. So this is the first time we're going to get to see this at play. But one of the things here is, as you can see, we have these cores off to the side based on the alphabet. We don't have enough M cores, so we can't do anything with this. But also, this is not a screen that anybody else is, you know, we get no information regarding anybody else seeing this screen. This is an effect of our bracelet. That said, the warning screen is what people are seeing. So we can't go there. We have the girl in white. And I still need to go do my playing tag with the goblin. We might do that on the stream at some point. So how did everybody go surviving the whole April Fool's Day yesterday? I pretty much had to lock myself out of reality. It's not that I necessarily...
I guess we can't play here.
Well, okay. It's not that I necessarily hate the holiday. It's just... And, you know, for those in the Discord, you've heard this already, and so I'm not telling you anything new, but... We did have a couple of new people stopping by at the to watch the video after the fact of the last stream, so I'm just going to say it here, because, you know, not everybody's over on the Discord. It's not that I hate April Fools, and honestly, there are some really good tasteful jokes that people come up with, but when you see a bunch of people doing the same general thing and just kind of bandwagon hopping and posting the same stuff all over the place, it gets tiresome. And so, you know, it's probably around lunchtime. I'm just like, all right, I'm done with the internet for now. I used to live in an area that had massive mulberry tree, and people used to actually pick and eat from after washing them. Was kind of upset when they eventually cut it down. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. So I know exactly what you're talking about. Not that exact tree, obviously, but I used to live in an area where a lot of the neighbors were very communal. Again, I don't know if it was the time. I think it was the time. That's where I stand on it. But as everybody retreated inward and people stopped doing the classic neighborly things, eventually these elements started disappearing. And so the people that I grew up with, usually elderly people owning their homes, when they would have fruit trees and things in their property, nobody cared when the kids were outside playing, and they'd, even if it was hopping your fence, hop into the fence, go back there and grab a pear, grab a peach, something like that. A lot of people just didn't care as long as it was like the neighborhood kids. Obviously, you're not going to do that and feed your family a peach cobbler, but you know, the kids are out playing. It's the middle of the day. They're just going to hop back there, grab a bite to eat, and hop back over. They weren't, you know, digging into your garden and taking the things that you were, you know, carefully procuring and all of that. And it's not like they were taking in large doses. So people didn't care. And as those elders started dying off, and especially when it was in like the front yard right by the road, but as people started, you know, getting old and dying off, and it's just the reality of things, and younger people started moving into some of those homes, the entire dynamic of people changed, and it became like blockaded and ironclad. And I'm talking like people calling the police on someone for picking up things that were falling in the street. Like, it got that weird and that bad. Like, so it's a shame that we're in that situation, but all the same, wow, the data area is really warping my brain looking at the screen right now, especially the character model. Anyways, but yeah, the whole sensation there is, you know, I miss those days, and I have a couple of neighbor kids that live in my area, and if you follow on the Discord, you know that I do some gardening as the seasons allow. I do fruit trees. I have a little bit of a garden. I have a little bit of an orchard. I do the chickens. I do the rabbits. I've got the eggs coming in. And so when the neighborhood kids come by and they're just like hopping the fence and they're plucking a few cherries, plucking a few peaches, it's I don't care. Again, as long as you're not going to be tearing up my yard and you're not destructive with anything. But a large part of that is because I miss those community days, and I'm glad that where I live now still has an active community. Alright, sorry about sitting on that screen for a while. That was just old habit there. Alright, let's pop the fairies orb. So what we have here, if you look at the overmap, this is about what it looked like before. This is the zoomed out version. You can see that it looks like there's a whole lot of these. Ooh. Okay, it looks like there's a whole lot of these areas floating around. This is going to give me a random buff. Yeah, I'm a little over leveled. Let's just clear through here. I'm not going to cure the poison. In fact, I can kind of make you do that yourself. But there's actually fewer in the overworld than it first looks like, because the overworld all wraps around. We also have the spring over here. I can play a little game of fate. Again, these springs actually have rules. If you know the area you're at, let me see here, let me check my gear. If you know the gear you have on hand, I would assume the strange blade is like the only thing I have in here that I'd be able to put in here. But not only knowing the gear, but knowing the elements and stats of it, this one being very basic is probably going to be safe. But there are ways to play within the area and guarantee a better outcome of what you put in. Right now, I'm just going to play with fire and throw in the strange blade and see what we get.
Did you lose a golden axe? Or was it a silver axe?
We clearly have enemies spawning in off screen.
What? Neither one? Then is it this? Just between us. With a weapon of this level,
All right.
there's nothing I can do. Go
That's
to a
unfortunate.
level much more difficult and ask Grandpa.
Now, there is a little bit of a benefit to this, though. I get the item that I put back in,
Consolation,
and
take
I get both
this.
axes.
Till next time, goodbye.
And there's actually a real benefit to getting those. If I get a bunch of the golden and silver axes, I can trade them in this one, or I can carry those items over into future iterations. In the Dot Hack series, it's often referred to as IMOQ, IMOQ, which stands for Infection, Mutation, Outbreak, and Quarantine, all 4 of the primary games that this storyline takes place in. You can carry your items from one game save file into the future games. I think I talked about that in the last stream. And the gold and silver axes are something that often come up as highly wanted for very rare items. So if I can get a bunch of those and just save them around until later on, I can get some pretty good gear at a time that I probably shouldn't be having it. Oh, I don't think I fought any of these guys. Yeah, I don't think I fought any swordmanoids. Obviously, those are going to be like swordsmen who are more sword than people. Very, Oh man, which Pokemon is that? It's the Mega Man looking duo that came out in Scarlet and Violet. Yeah, I don't want to go that way. Nope. Don't care. I think I procced one of the portals, and I am just going to run away from that. Alright, so we're going to be going into this seashell here. By the way, there are some dungeon layouts in this game that get real freaky. There are actually some that just make me uncomfortable.
Thank you for playing the world. This area is currently unstable and not functioning properly due to corrupted data configurations. Please return to the field immediately and gate out to the town.
No. If I give up now, I'll never be able to help him. I must...
Alright, so you can see everything is supposed to be really messed up here. Give me that treasure chest. Ooh, safety shoes. Right now, I'm just going to be constantly working my way through. I'm not really looking to open any of the poisoned or trapped chests right now. Yeah, going through right now, I'm not expecting to get anything worth the trade-off of using my fortune wires. So right now, just given my level, I'm going to more so just blow right through here on the first run. We're gonna figure out why exactly this place was locked off and what the hidden element is going on here. This is also one of those rooms I was talking about earlier. As you can see, I'm getting a bunch of basic healing items. Health drinks are very much a needed thing. If you go in here, you can see I have 12 on hand. I think I just opened up, what, 2 or 3 of them? Getting any of these, even resurrects you can get from opening these. Sometimes they're barrels and here they're eggs. But all of this stuff is great to have on hand. Especially when you start getting into some of the big boss fights, because those boss fights, how do I say this? Given that this is a JRPG, at the end of the day, the boss fight is not made hard by the action elements of the game, but rather by the enemy just being able to really rough shit up with status ailments, with a high HP pool, draining you of resources, and making sure you came in properly equipped. So, having access to a bunch of healing items in those moments is very much needed. So this is the trick here, is if you go into one of these rooms with all of these eggs, you can back right out, come back in, and they all restock. And what is in each one of these is going to be random every time you crack one open. More often than not, you're going to find things that, you know, they're just going to crack open and not have something. But running through and doing a little farming of this when you're short on items, don't want to spend money, or, you know, you're just going around grinding for levels and experience and you just take a few minutes to do that, you can build up a good repertoire. As you get into later dungeons, you'll also notice that... Oh, Black Rose. That poison is really starting to hurt Black Rose. I might have to... Actually, I think she can still heal herself for the most part. Anyways, yeah, as you go through, it's a pretty easy enough way to get a little bonus. Alright, here we go. Char Cadet. I should be able to remember Char Cadet because that's basically just merging my favorite character from the Gundam franchise again with Pokemon. It's Char Aznabel as a cadet. Come on. So Char Cadet is the first stage. It evolves into either Armor Rouge or Cerule Edge. Obviously, the one I'm thinking of was Cerule Edge, being part sword. It depends on which armor you use on it. Collect 10 Bronzor fragments in Scarlet to get the item to get Armor Rouge, Sinisty chips in Violet to get the other. Thank you, but yeah, those are definitely the Mega Man characters I was thinking of. Speaking of Mega Man, God, I think I did a short demo video once when I was doing a Steam cleaning, where I played a little bit of the Mega Man Legends games. Or maybe I just talked about Mega Man Legends back when I was doing the Mega Man Battle Network game. I really, just talking about it right now, the fact that I'm going through and playing a lot of old favorites, I want to go back and play the Mega Man Legends games. I am one that had a preference to the first Mega Man Legends game. Mega Man Legends 2 was a lot of fun. I'll have to see what I can do about maybe finding a way to play... what was her name? There was a spin-off character with one of the female villains that was a fan favorite, and I can't recall her name right now. But there's an entire game that features her as the primary character, too. Anyways, yeah, the Mega Man Legends games were probably my favorite of the Mega Man games to date. And I grew up playing Mega Man Legends 1 with a friend, and we just... You know how everybody has those games that you get together at the end of the school day, and it's just what you put on as you talk and you ramble. Very much the entire direction and aim I want this channel to feel like. You know, anytime somebody comes in and has something they want to talk about, it's the same sensation. I treat it with the same approach that I would back then. You got good news, bad news, whatever it is, I am always up for chatting it out. Because that's the entire direction I wanted this channel to feel when I set it up for the gameplay elements. Anyways, Mega Man Legends on the N64 specifically, which I think just released under the title Mega Man 64, was that game for my good friend. I know this is gonna sound weird to one of the people watching right now. My good friend growing up, Christian. Him and I, we would genuinely just play a lot of Mega Man Legends. We wouldn't even do anything. We had an entire joke. I don't even want to call it a joke. It's not a joke. It's just something that we did. In the game, you can ride on the backs of some of the trucks, but it's not particularly easy. If you jump too low, the truck hits you with the front of it and you take the battle damage. If you aren't fast enough coming at it from the back, you're not going to be able to make it with the jump. And if you jump at it from the side, you've got to be very particular about your timing. So it was a pain in the butt to get on the back of the truck. And that's the kind of thing, you know, we'd crack open a bag of Doritos, grab a few. God, back in the day, it probably would have been, not Amp. What was the, Surge. We were cracking open some cans of Surge, opening some bags of Doritos, chatting it up, and that's what we did. We would chase that truck around while we talked after school. And then after, you know, one of us finally managed to get on there, and we just kind of laugh at the idea of the truck being our free ride around the town. Then we would finally, you know, move on and actually play the game. But those are the kind of memories that, you know, as goofy and silly as they are, that's the kind of thing that I hope to be able to capture here from time to time. You know, have a couple of those moments. So, we found a new data bug. This is where we get to see how this fight actually takes place in the game. As you can see, as we're sitting here wailing on this thing, its health actually doesn't go down, and we break through and get the ability to data drain it. Whoops. So I can data drain it right now and take care of it, and I think I have to with a lot of these. However, there are going to be data bugs that really what happens is you don't get to see the health bar, and it's going to be much higher than anything you're going to run into anywhere else. You can clear a lot of the data bugs out just by wailing on them. Not all of them, and especially ones that are tied to story requirements. You're not going to get the luxury for that. This being one of the ones that I had to data drain for the item, I believe. And now we are meeting one of my other favorite characters in this series. And again, I like that Dot Hack tries to sell you on the idea that these characters aren't supposed to just be characters. You're not building a party that you can call on whenever you want. Mistral has a very real reason why. First of all, she's very good, very sought after. You want her on your party as often as you can. And she has a legitimate reason when the story progresses where it is, why she does and makes certain decisions that do affect you playing the game.
I can't believe you defeated the monster by rewriting its data. How did you do that? Oh, did I hit a nerve? Should I keep my mouth shut?
But yeah, that's also when you start to get to know these characters and they share details about their life with you in personal chats, story beats, and the emails coming through. You actually do get a feel for some of these characters outside of the game. You kind of get to understand a little bit about them, why they might do certain things, why they're playing the game in the first place in some cases. And Mistral is one that, for whatever reason, I remember. There's another one that I'm remembering. There's a big samurai fan that is another one that I recall liking a lot and drawing to in memory. But Mistral's another one that sticks with me. And it sticks with me because the reason she builds herself up as being something that you wouldn't expect as a character in the game, but then when you get to know her, you're just like, oh, whoa, wait, what? That's the life you're living kind of thing. And then when it hits you later on, some of the story elements and things that happen, it's like, I want to be upset about it. I want to be hurt, but also it's just, I know why. And it's a very good reason why. You talking about Surge makes me miss Sobe. That's the not quite smoothie, not quite juice concoction of a drink I remember being so good. Sobe was the greatest thing ever. And from what I understand, and I might be wrong, I don't think Sobe is... It might be dead by now, but when Sobe disappeared for a lot of the states, I don't think it completely went away at first. I think they kind of like dialed it back and made it regional for wherever it was made. I think it was a Pepsi product. I'm not sure. This is going back and just rehashing things that I recall in the past. But it was still occasionally available. This was around the time that Sobe went from doing the glass bottles to the plastic bottles, and then they went away, but they didn't really go away. They were just very rare and hard to find, and then eventually I think they did like fully just disappear, and it was the greatest loss in probably the drinking experience ever, for two reasons. We lost a really good drink. Sobe was genuinely a tasty beverage, but also we lost access to those glass bottles. And if you remember, those glass bottles, I wish I saved a bunch of those from growing up. They're not even like wildly super cool, but they always had that molded in lizard, and it was the standout. And so like in my head, I'm just thinking, God, I wish I saved those bottles. I could absolutely see myself, getting a buddy who does the, you can transfer some bottles into being glasses that you can keep. I would absolutely do that with a Sobe bottle just so that I could have that lizard on hand. just something so iconic, and it was the perfect shape to fit so comfortably in your hand. Also, Snapple used to be so much better. Also true.
I came because I read a post about it on the board and it sounded interesting.
And she just walked past the administrator just like, you know, I'm here to be entertained by this game. Fuck off, old man.
But this place looks so weird. Even if the data is corrupted, it's too weird.
I also want to put it out there. I love when you get to see these cutscenes play out and the characters are using the gear that you have in the game. So obviously right now Kite has a default look that would be on par with the starting gear that we had. But I've upgraded since then. I'm using something different. Mistral is using her starting gear. But in the later cutscenes, once we start outfitting Mistral for cutscenes that she's going to be a part of, she'll be equipping the weapon we give her. If it looks different, it's going to look different in the cutscene. So right now, Kite's walking around with this weapon that's just got lightning engraved through it.
Things have been happening everywhere in the world. Ever since the server
I
failure,
know the
all
cutscenes
goes
are
downhill.
incredibly dated. You're not going to get,
Except
you know, high action movie things and pre-rendered all of this, that, and the other thing. You're getting a lot of stuff that plays out based on, you know, character models in the game. And it's a style choice, in my opinion, as far as going back and having to take it in as such. Because, you know, the cutscenes are happening in the very game you're playing, so, you know, why make it too much more intense than what you see? You're going to see a little bit here and there. We had that cutscene with Helba, for example. But you're going to get very few things like that, and most of them are going to be like this. Is it high action? No. But it does give you some, you know, story beats, a little bit of flavor to it. Again, the idea that you can customize it based on what you're giving player characters.
What? Oh, damn it!
So we look over there like, what's going on? Well, I can't see shit.
I burned dinner. Oh well, gotta go. Oh, I almost forgot. Invite me to your party next time. Let's do this again, Kay?
And just like that, you get one of the most memorable characters in all of the Dot Hack franchise. I can't remember offhand specifically, but I think Mistral actually ends up showing up again in other Dot Hack media as well. And this is my GOAT.
Fair eyes.
I believe I shared a little bit, again, I think I might have played a little bit of the Dot Hack GU games in a Steam cleaning video. And I got to experience Pyros the Third on stream. I seem to recall, I think I got that far. Pyros is the original. And I love Pyros. Pyros the Third is so enjoyable in Dot Hack GU, and he has the best theme song. When you start playing through these games, there are going to be some customizations you can do to certain elements of it. GU is just off the chain as far as like letting you have a lot of fun with customizing your customizing your desktop experience, and you can even use some of the music from the game. I remember having the Pyros the Third theme song playing through my desktop every time I went back there and never regretting it.
Huh?
The cutscenes in the game look like a lot of modern Pokemon cutscenes, so I'm not bothered. Admittedly, that's true. Unfortunately, Pokemon has had some really good... I shouldn't say unfortunately. Fortunately for Pokemon, unfortunately for, you know, the direction we're at present at least, Pokemon has had some really good cutscenes here and there too, just not so much in the modern mainline games, unfortunately. Again, one of the things that I like that they do is they don't break your suspension of the game by doing it the way that, and I'm talking about Pokemon right now. The good thing I can say is I like when games hit you with the same graphic fidelity on generality between the cutscenes and the game, so you're not taken too set back when things happen. If you're gonna give me the game to look one way, either have the cutscenes be really, really few and far between, where you're just like, this is a cinematic moment and we're pumping it up, but for the most part, let me see the game as you've presented it, because I don't want to feel like I wish you guys could have done more of B when I'm sticking through with A for the majority of the game, you know? That is quite the blue corn chip tortilla bowl on his head. So, from what I understand, and I might be wrong, Pyros is actually based as a character
by a wicked monster in Delta, Indiscreet Gluttonous Pilgrimage.
Also a great name for his description here. A player I know is being harassed. Anyways, from what I understand, Pyros is actually based around somebody that existed in the CyberConnect studio when they were making this game. I think he's one of the like head people. I don't remember if he was a team head, if he was an executive member, but he carried a lot from what I remember reading about. He carried a lot of weird, goofy energy in the workplace, and they just let them have fun with it and carry him over and made him a character in this game. Which is why when you're walking around and you're seeing characters sharing his model, everyone's running around with a helmet. But they wanted you to know who this character was based on. And so they've got Pyros rocking up in that goofy look in that big Chad suit of armor. Alright, we're gonna go with Pyros.
Will? I knew you would say that! Oh, good!
God, I love Pyros so much.
Waiting for you at Delta Indiscreet Gluttonous Pilgrimage. This will be good.
Alright, and just like that, we have been invited to go meet Pyros. I'm not gonna get Black Rose out of my party, however, I wonder if I can add Mistral yet.
Alrighty, I'm coming.
Yeah! Alright, so the reason Mistral is so vital to the strategy here is Mistral is obviously the spellcaster. She is your healing unit. And I believe the weapon doesn't determine the spells nearly as much as the gear equipped. So I could go around and try to trade for a couple of things for her, but I am going to take a little bit of the cheap shot lazy way. Let's double check what she's got equipped just to make sure we're not going to lose. Alright, level 11. Sandals are pretty terrible. The Flaming Wand is pretty terrible. Steel Cap is level 6. Noble Cloak is level 6. So we're probably not going to be able to replace the bracers, but let's see if we can get rid of those sandals. Whoops, that is to store items. I guess I have to go over to the sword up here. Yeah, for the most part, you're never going to actually buy equipment in this game. This exists, for the most part, to let you buy some things to trade in the early part of the game. That's my understanding of it. There's really not a lot here. Alright, so we really got nothing as far as weapons go. And the armor shop, I don't think exists yet. I think that comes into play when we go to the next server. So really can't do anything for her right now, and I'm not going to go look around for trading. We are, Black Rose and I are both pretty well beefed up, so we shouldn't be in too much of a need. So kind of like how Snorlax is based on one of the OG Pokemon developers, exactly like that. And the idea that not only did they do that, but like everybody was so, chill about the inside joke and everybody loved it. The guy who is based on Pyros probably, obviously enjoyed it enough that when .hack GU came around, they returned and said, no, we need more Pyros in our life. And I am so glad that they made that decision. Again, it's just one of those... Pyros and Pyros III almost entirely have nothing to do with the main story at play, but they're just a fun character that you get to interact with, because at the end of the day, you are still playing an MMO game, and there's gonna be people that aren't as involved or interested in what you're diving into as everybody else. But you still need to go through there. You need to put the grind in, and you need to expand and make friends and find information, all of that. And so these other player characters exist to fill those roles. And Pyros is just one of the most fun characters out there. Alright, let's go. Yeah, Thunder Coil. There we go. Clear the whole field that way. I also want to point out right now, if you look at Black Rose's weapon, there are heavy blade weapons that exist that are made to look more katana-like in this game. And in my opinion, if you're familiar with the anime, what is it, Inuyasha? I think a lot of the weapons in this game that are modeled to look like katana-esque really remind me more of Inuyasha's sword in that series. Of which, there is a PS2 Inuyasha game that shares an entire self-contained story with honestly terrible graphics as far as the gameplay goes, but there are moments of it that are completely animated to be in a very similar style to the anime itself. And it's got a full unique story. You get to divulge deeper into a lot of the characters. You get to know a bit more of them in that way. And it's a fully self-contained story, so obviously if you did not grow up with Inuyasha and you know nothing about Inuyasha, none of that matters, because the story is going to tell you everything you need to know to see that story from point A to point B. Alright, this is not one of the ones with the hidden chests, so I'm just going to break all of these and head on out. But yeah, that's one of those things that I want to go through and play through that game as well. It's also got a little bit of a sort of dating sim to it. It's not really a dating sim, but as you get opportunities in the game, you're going to be able to spend time with certain characters. And those characters are ones you're going to grow closer to as your character as you play. Alright, so these items here, as goofy as they are, this is grunty food. We're going to be able to feed all of these to the grunties eventually. Pop that open. I'm not even going to break all the barrels. I'm pretty well equipped. And right now, like I said, I'm more interested in breaking through some more of the story. Besides, we've got to get down and help Pyros out. He's busy trying to make himself look important. Also, Porygon was apparently created in a... Let me read that in a minute here. Porygon was created... what was that? Apparently created as a sort of meta joke, making fun of 3D graphics. Yeah, that... I'll be honest, I think the entire joke of what Porygon is, if anything, as a meta joke, works well, but also... I don't think they were wrong. But again, I'm incredibly biased there. I need to acknowledge that openly and fully. I am somebody that does genuinely just like the visual element of classic old school pixel art. And so when it comes to the Pokemon game, I am obviously going to be biased to the old pixel art designs. But, you know, they were clever, they were good, they were made to work within the format that they had. And, you know, they appeal to my personal preference as an art style. So, personally, I think the Porygon element holds up, even if the direction they ended up going had to eventually be into the 3D space. Alright, Mistral is currently poisoned. Everybody else I can let ride through it. Mistral is the baby of the group. She is the healer. Protect the healer. She is not allowed to sit sick for too long. She also only has 70 HP, so obviously, big guys like this, I need to keep off of her at all times. Get the hell back here. Someone told Game Freak to develop Pokemon Red and Green with Porygons. Oh, with polygons. Whoops. And Porygon was their answer. Honestly, a pretty based response. I also remember growing up, I was a big fan of Star Fox for the Super Nintendo, and an even bigger fan of it when it moved over to the N64. But yeah, Star Fox on the Super Nintendo was, again, it was about as, you know, terribly polygonal as you can get. But something about the way that they managed to do the whole stretch experience and make things kind of play out the way they did, it was beautiful and magical in its own way. God help you if you go through and fight the slot machine boss, though, because no joke, that can actually last indefinitely. It knows no limit, and it will hurt you on the time spent playing that game if you let it. They gave a ton of kids seizures for a meta joke. Wow. Oh, okay, wait, yeah, I read that and I was like, wait, what are we talking about? Okay, yeah, the entire Porygon seizures element, obviously they didn't know that would happen with the episode, of course. Yeah. The entire thing to that story is not that Porygon caused it per se, but from what I understand, actually Porygon wasn't even the one that caused it in the episode. It was Pikachu. But you can't exactly cancel your mascot character, right? And so because the episode happened within the effect therein dealing with Porygon, they just kind of said that that's what they were doing. And because of that, Porygon has never been featured in the anime. I don't know ever since, but for a very long time. And frankly, I think they missed out terribly on that because Porygon is one of my favorite Pokemon from Generation 1 because of that. I'll be honest, I actually don't like the follow-up Porygons, and so when I get one, I kind of just keep it as the baseline. Ooh, hey, nice. I keep it as the baseline Porygon just because that's where my visual preference is at, and frankly, I don't do a lot of competitive battling anyways, so I don't need to get the extra power from evolving it. But you know, that's also one of the great elements of the Pokemon franchise. You can play through that game and get so many different experiences. You know, I grew up loving Arcanine, but you know, sometimes I just wanted to have a group of puppies with me too, so I walk around with a bunch of Growliths.
Bear witness.
Oh, he just wants to handle it himself? It was featured in the opening to one of the older Pokemon movies, but that's literally it. I wonder which one that would be. I suppose I could see it being a background scenario character, cause like, what was that? In Pokemon the first movie, they have an element where like the team goes to like a Pokemon Center somewhere, and I could absolutely see it being like in the background character elements there. Or maybe in Pokemon the movie 2000, there are scenes where a bunch of Pokemon are like standing on the side of cliffs or trying to fly to where the event is going on. Again, something like that I can absolutely see it easily enough. If it would have to be filling a position similar to that, because I think I would remember if it was like a mainline showcase up front in your face. Hey, this is Porygon, it's back, guys. Now, obviously, I don't remember a lot of things, so I absolutely could forget it, but I genuinely don't remember.
Today. You think you can defeat me? Reveal your true powers.
Is he all right?
Yeah, I don't think Pyros is doing too well. So, realistically, I think I could stay back and let Pyros handle it himself, but you know, where's the goodness in that? I don't know if I'm supposed to data drain this guy, but I'm gonna do it anyways because I remember these guys can sometimes give you really good items. I don't know why I remember these enemies specifically, but I think you fight a lot of them, and some of them can give you some really good items. Unfortunately, we only got a virus core, but, you know, it is what it is.
That was quite refreshing. You may take the plunder.
Okay. You take the plunder, and all it is another one of these scrolls for a spell that, I can't even cast that reliably. Yeah, I'm just gonna let it sit off to the side. I don't need the meteor strike.
Oh, thank you.
No need to thank me. I have a feeling we will yet meet again. Until that day, farewell. May the stars shine until the end of your journey.
He really gives me like Power Ranger character vibes, and I love it. Probably more apt for like a Kamen Rider experience, but still. Alright, so we got the member address for one of the greatest characters in .hack, so you know, back to back we got two great characters. Not gonna complain about that. Also, these are characters that will stick with you the entire way through the game, so that'll be a big factor as it unravels. I think that opening was only on the DVD, and I could be wrong, but I also think it was more than one movie. I can't confirm, though, because our old neighbors stole them. Ooh. Yeah, nope. Always hate to hear that. Again, I've been on the receiving end of a theft phenomenon myself, so yeah, it's that shit sucks. I might go to Google and see if I can look that information up after this, especially since I will have a short window between this and a later obligation over in the Discord. Anybody coming in after the fact, by all means, find the link in the description of the video. You can join whenever you like. Alright, you have been inquiring about the server problems. Cease now. Do not ignore this warning if you wish to continue playing this game. Congratulations! You are the lucky winner of our 1-year anniversary power-up campaign. As a prize, you will receive a special level-up item created for this occasion. Please receive your prize at a shop in Root Town. Awesome. What do you do when you're in your room? Black Rose, hold on. You can't just be asking a guy that. Anyways, don't just play games. You should go out and work out. You'll get fat. Well, first of all, how rude. Second of all, kind of him. Third of all, I do go outside and get a little exercise here and there. So, yeah, we'll go with that. We'll play a little soccer. All right, so we did the whole email response. Let's drop back in, see what we have for the server. I think we might have gotten 2 of the M's by now. I don't remember which one we got from our first mission objective. Let's see, are we solo right now? We are solo right now. Let's go in and fight this goblin. This is a rather important quest line to undertake. Not so much that it's super important, but you do get some good items from it. And it's one of the rare moments in this game where you get a full set and you get a bonus.
I really doubt that will happen.
Alright, so the idea here is I have to defeat this guy, but he's a little bit fast. And they get faster and faster each time you run into them.
I thought. My bad for underestimating you. But don't get cocky. I'm only an apprentice of the 4 Gob Kings.
So there we go. And I am definitely going to drop an item for that one. We'll drop the Raging Earth. We don't need no Earth spells where we're going, but I do want to keep the Goblin Cap. So when you get all of the goblin items and you equipped all of them, you are technically capping your, your armor gear, because you're talking about, I think the goblin cap is a very low level item. Yeah, it's level 6, it's a rare item, but really all it gives you is access to one spell. You can see that it does very little for your stat layouts. However, if you equip all of the goblin items, you gain the ability to summon you actually get a summon spell. And if I recall, it's actually a pretty decent damaging spell. You can ride through a lot of the game on it. Alright, we're going to sell a few items off just because we are kind of short on storage. I can store some items if I want to as well, but it's not what I'm really looking for. We also got our reward for the 1-year anniversary, so I'll deal with that in a little bit. I want to keep a lot of the damaging spells on hand, and we'll sell a lot of these. I don't need to keep too many of these on hand. These are some of the best items as far as trading material goes. I want to keep the axes. I can probably put those in long storage. Same thing with the goblin cap. Give that to Mistral, I think. No, I think that's what she had on. So I can. Oh, I got 4 of these? Yeah, sell that for some good money. Keep that on hand. Maybe? No, we'll sell that. Same thing with that. Now that's an upgrade for Mistral, so we'll keep that on hand for her. Sell the rest of this. That's also good for her. Sell those. The used greaves, pointless to have on hand. And the mountain guards. Alright, we cleared up a lot of space. I'm going to go put some items in storage. And then we're going to see what these items do, because there is a little bit of the... I think it's something that I don't think the story makes particularly clear. And so I will explain that when I make use of the item here. There we go. We're pretty well stacked for what we need to have on hand to keep going through the story of the game. Where is my key items layout? There we go. So the Book of Law is the prize for the 1-year anniversary power-up campaign. As we go to make use of this, there is an installation error. The character data overwrite is forbidden. Now, realistically, there are items you can get in this game that will up your stats, and you can use it. You can use those ones without any issue. The reason, and I don't think it's ever explained, that this doesn't work, I think is further explained in one of the novels. And what this is the systems administrators do not like that the bracelet exists, do not like that your character has access to it, and do not like what that potentially, threatens for the company. And so they rigged the game, or the competition, to have Kite be the one to get the item, and they tried to include in the Book of Law a series of codes for whatever purpose to rewrite his character data to get rid of the bracelet. And that is where they ran into the issue. It is one of the first telltale signs in the series that the people running the world aren't really the people behind the making of it, and they aren't in as full of control of the world as developers of a video game would want you to understand and think that they have. I remember someone breaking into the first house I lived at, and the limited edition Pikachu... Oh. Yeah, that's a heavy one. The limited edition Pikachu Game Boy Advance SP I had got stolen. Good thing I didn't live there for very long, because that sucked hard. Absolutely. Looking back, I think the housemate I had at the time ratted me out and pretended to protect me so I wouldn't get suspicious. Would this be... Well, okay, am I trying to... I'm not sure I'm reading this right, It sounds like maybe you suspected it was your first housemate, or I don't know. I don't. Maybe there's a post missing and YouTube is censoring you, but I can't make heads or tails going from one post to the next. First house I lived at when I moved out from my mom's place, to clarify. That I can follow. Alright, there is something else in here I want to go through. The Book of 1000 is something that you unlock further and further based on how much you make use of your data drain ability. So already off screen, I've been using it enough to unlock the first 3 books. And going through here, I can use these, and this will give me data and information that in theory the idea is the bracelet is recording. We're going to see this at play here. So yeah, this is accessing data within the bracelet. And although it's not going to do much right now, we'll see what it does give us. There you go. You can get a lot of... this is how you get a lot of your customization options within the overworld. And so I'm going to burn through these real quick just to get them out of the way. Okay, ratted me out to the burglars as far as what I had that was valuable. Okay, so... yeah, I guess where I was confused is ratting it out almost made it sound like they were turning you in on something, and it sounds like they sold you out. They knew who was going to be stealing from anyone in the area, and basically said, hey, this guy's got some good shit, take from him, make some money off of it. Yeah, I get that. Alright, so going off of this, I'm going to log out. We've got an email to go respond to, and then I think we have one more area to progress in the story. So let's check out the email here, and then we're also going to look into the data. I don't play soccer, but I like watching it. Do you play any sports? So this is one of those things where if we go through here, this is a conversation ender. We can end it here, but if we go into this one, you can see that we're asking a question, we're probing. This is the game's way of telling you, if you want to know more about the character, these are the ways for you to delve down into it. So, we're going to ask Black Rose if she plays any sports. Now, again, I have read through the novels already as well, so I do know the answer to that, but we'll wait for her email response down the line. Data drain is not the only power of your bracelet. Do you want to know more? You do, don't you? Boundless corrupted fort walls. I'll be waiting at this area, so come alone. Alright, well, we just got our invitation from the lady cat. We're gonna go pet the kitty. The other thing I wanted to go through here is, I believe it's the accessories. Yeah, so you can see here I do have some character art and so on back here I can swap to. There's going to be a lot that it can start, you know, diving into. One of the other things is you get 3 colors of the baseline here. I just default to the old orange. And we even get some of the movies that you can watch here. And in order to watch these, we got to clear the game. So, there we go. Hop back in. So yeah, if you had a roommate that was willing to sell you out to people who were obviously of that level of situation, I do want to follow up to that first by saying, thank goodness you got out of that, but also, you know, it really does clarify and, you know, emphasize the idea of having good roommates and knowing that the roommate you're with right now definitely is, you know, rocking the high bar a lot better than the, not that the other guy left a high bar to go with, but yeah, the roommate you've got right now definitely seems like a chill guy. A lot of respect for him. All right, so now we're going to go see Mia. Again, a level 7 area. We're level 10. Realistically, I probably would want to do a little leveling up, or at least grabbing some items. Because if I'm going to be rattled with a lot of status ailments, I'm not sure I'm solo equipped for that.
I've been waiting for you. Actually, I'm also interested in your bracelet. Thanks for coming. I'm at the lowest level of the dungeon. You can make it here, can't you?
How do you know about data drain?
Well, it's hard to say.
Alright, I'm not going to use the items right now, and I'm not even going to fight these enemies. I'm going to see if I can maybe... Ooh, I can absolutely outrun them. Why did I use the fairy's orb? I thought it was on the wrong... on a different item list. There we go, speed charm. So they're definitely going to get a few shots off on me here, but then I should be able to outrun them. There we go. Where's the entrance? Where is it? There we go.
Thank you for playing the world.
All right, we're getting the same message about the corrupted area.
This area is currently unstable and not functioning properly due to corrupted data configurations. Please return to the field immediately and gate out to the town.
So Mia's already said she's made it past him, made it all the way down. Not that it's particularly hard. We did see that Mistral did the same thing. So Thunder Coil is a very expensive skill as far as the SP cost goes, but luckily it is a skill that has multiple hits, so multiple chances to actually land something without having a bunch of misses, and it has an area of effect to it. Staccato has even more hits, which I really like, but is lacking the area of effect element to it. Alright, currently poisoned, but I'm just going to stick to it. Keep trying to make our way through.
Golden egg.
Grab the golden egg while we're here. There we go. I keep looking over and I'm reading, just trying to watch the chat so that I'm not missing anything that might come in. And every time I look over, the first message I see is obviously the last one that came in which you said ratted you out. And I'm not gonna lie, every time I'm looking at it, I keep reading rutted. And I'm just, no. I would rather be ratted out by my roommate than rutted. So I apologize for that, Rigid, but like I'm sure that is not the way you want that to be read. Alright, just gonna rock one of these here. God, even with all of that, these bees are just so evasive. Obviously, that would be why I would like to make use of the staccato skill. Because again, these bastards are gonna be dodgy motherfuckers. Alright, heal up. This is why farming for all of those healing potions is so needed. I'm actually making pretty good progress the way down here.
Do you think the area is really corrupted? The truth is, for something to be born, something must break.
Wait. I kind of feel like a part of that. There might be a translation error on that line. This feels like before creation must first come destruction. And either that is a cultural element, but like, I'm just saying, it doesn't necessarily flow with my understanding of things. Very Dragon Ball Super line there, though. Mia's out here being like, so I was the alpha build for Beerus. You can even recognize the cat-like designs. Not enough. All right, just gonna run away for a minute and data drain. Again, I'm gonna keep data draining the rock heads because I seem to recall you can get some items from them. And until I get some items and realize it's not worth it, I'm gonna keep trying. Also gonna use a Mage's Soul. These things are expensive, but I need to have as many of those on hand as I possibly can. When it comes to the boss fight scenarios, the Mage's Souls are gonna be some of the most expensive and widely used items. There's Mage's Souls, and then there's Sage's Souls. Obviously, as you get along, it's just going to be more and more MP that you recover. But the boss fights are made to be a constant drain of using items and skills. And so, as you burn through all of your skills, you're going to run out of MP, and you are going to use so many of those. Alright, couldn't data drain the other guy. Not that it's going to be the end of the world right now, going through that is going to build up the spread of the virus, and I don't want to face the negative effects of that. While I was playing off screen, I did in fact have ill effects from using the data drain happen. Luckily, it wasn't so bad that it did any of the long-term damage to my character, but I did get hit with a whole series of debuffs at one point. I think I mentioned in the last stream as well that some of the worst elements there is you can actually like have full-on elements to your character. You can get buffs too, by the way, but you can have your character, like stats can just start dropping.
You came here to find the secret of the bracelet.
I'm not that kind of rat. Also, I've heard of being railed, but rutted is a new one. By all means, you can look it up, but I'm going to tell you, be a little warned about what you're going to find. He's also using his time skip technique to run faster.
The world does not consist of only ones and zeros. It allows the existence of areas between yes and no.
Well, yeah, if we look off to the side, we can see right there that we have, like, -0, which, I mean, come on. You got 2 UV. Look, there's more than ones and zeros. Obviously, this thing is running on... God, I don't remember what... There's other coding languages, like hex-coded and things like that, but... I don't know which one would necessarily be using some of the characters we see off to the side there.
Humans are interesting, aren't they?
So the cat has called us out for a one-on-one exchange, and clearly has a fascination with humans. I'm just saying I might be returning to my claim of the cat might be bringing us out for a little petting, you know, involvement, if you know what I mean. Welcome to the day where MMORPGs had people actually getting married in them. Just saying. It's not as crazy as you might think. Ah, son of a bitch, my accuracy went down. I like my accuracy. I require my accuracy. I don't so much mind when the magical accuracy goes down, but physical sucks. Can I clear that up with a restorative? I cannot. Okay, there we go. Antidotes do the job. Oh, don't want to go in there. I don't want to go in there, not because I'm not ready for the fight, but because I want to clear this out and get all of the goodies before I do. Alright, there we go. That's the end of it. And it wasn't even worth it at the end.
Go closer to that magic portal.
Wouldn't -0 just be 1? The kids love a double negative. I mean, I don't know how that works. 0 cannot be positive nor negative because it just is the absence of anything. If anything, I might have been looking at the wall in that moment and I might have found the corruption in the file. I might have cleared this issue up right from the get-go. Mia is legit out here just like, so yeah, go fuck that thing up.
Show me the power of the one who holds the bracelet.
So this girl calls me out to the bottom floor of a dungeon, and the first thing she says when I get down here is she wants me to show her. Yep, I'm sticking to my game plan. I also want to see if I can maximize the amount of times I wail on this thing. So right now, doing 2 staccatos is exposing me to more damage than I need to, but it is also, I think, probably doing more, not that one, more damage than the other one for the cost of the skill. So let's do another staccato. The idea being that I can rattle off 3 of those instead of doing just 1 of the Thunder Dance. Thunder Coil. Probably getting close though, so let's see what that does. Yeah, okay. This thing really does not want to drop down into the data drain territory. There we go. Okay. I don't want to miss my opportunity, so I'm going to pop a... Mage's Soul. It's overkill, but if I let it sit on the data drain too long, I'm going to miss my window and have to go through all of that again. So yeah, notice how all of the subsequent uses of data drain, Kite is not screaming for. Alright, so now we've got access to the Virus Core M, which we were needing earlier. That hurt a lot. I also want to see if maybe I can manage to get another data drain off on this thing. Because if I can, that's going to be pretty good. There we go. There's a chance of getting some pretty good gear out of this. Alright, so we got the Fire Drake Mail, which I think is not what I can equip. Okay, no, it is. I thought maybe that was more for Black Rose. So it's already what I have equipped. Not really good for me to be able to upgrade,
so that's the
but
data drain.
Good for trading.
I've never seen it before.
What? What do you mean by that?
What do you mean you brought the other guy here? I am not going to be the cuck. He's sitting in the chair.
Are you angry?
Yes!
I just wanted to know the extent of your power.
Yes, I get it. You wanted to see it extend.
If you were too weak, there would be no point in teaching you how to hack the gates.
Again, we're sticking to the euphemisms, and I feel even more uncomfortable.
Hack gates?
You just drained a virus core. That talent comes in handy if you know what you're doing.
Again, under the context of where I have now directed this to go, even that line feels a little dirty.
Virus cores are the key to breaking through protective barriers.
God help me.
Of course. Virus cores are useless to those who don't have the bracelet.
Gotta be able to wrap the all-important bracelet around your, air quotes here, wrists, so you can avoid having the negative repercussions of the virus cores, right?
I'll show you how to hack the gates. come to the Chaos Gate. I enjoyed watching the data drain.
Yeah, she enjoyed watching me get drained. There we go. Oh, let me just take a minute and just hate everything that I have just said. It took me years to figure out that the 2 + 2 fish joke from the Fairly Odd Parents. Yeah. You take the 2 and the 2, you invert them, put them next to each
Then
other.
We will go to the gate.
It had a meaning outside of being random. Yep, if you flip one of the 2s and overlay them, you get a fish. First, add us to your party, then we will go to the gate. Alright. So realistically here, there is something of interest to this. We'll start with adding Mia.
Right, let's go.
But the other one we're going to add here, Elk. Elk is an interesting character. We're going to get to know him very much through this. But not only is Elk in this game, Elk exists in .hack GU as well. However, in that game, he is not playing as Elk. I believe he is playing as the, what is it? She's a Blade something or other, right? Blade Master. I believe Elk in GU is playing as a Blade Master, and not only that, his character is still seen oftentimes with a cat that he names Mia. And I'm not going to get into further details than that because that's not heavy spoilers. If anything, all it does is emphasize who the character Endurance is when you play GU. Which again is something that you're really only going to dig into if you look into some of the further details around the franchise. We've got mail, but we've got a mission objective we're going to tackle first. We'll check that mail when we get out of here. Man, there really is a lot of missed gear on Mia. Mia is not really well equipped. Let's see here, a level 2 sword, level 2 Blade Master sword. I can't give her the curing one, but I can give her the Strange Blade. And I don't think I have a good headset for her. Nope. So right now, if you look at her sword, this is, wow, hold on, camera is fighting me here. You can see how her sword looks at
There's
present.
I can't.
I didn't mean to do that. Alright, I don't need to have a speed charm, so I will just gift you the Strange Blade.
Thanks. I'll gladly accept it.
And now you can see her entire weapon design completely changed. And so when we run into her in the cutscenes and everybody's chatting it up, that is going to be
Enter
the
key. It should open the menu to hack the gate. You do know the keywords for a protected area. It was posted on the board. The keywords are Delta, Closed Oblivious Twin Hills.
All right, so yeah, we're gonna see her rocking that new gear. All right, so we're gonna slot those cores in place.
See? You need virus cores to hack the gates.
I thought Elk was a girl at first and was going to make a joke about eyeing her like a piece of wild meat. Now I know this wild meat, in fact, has meat. Oh, you know what's really funny? Alright, this is going to be spoilers. If we do ever play GU, it will be a factor, but you play through the game as a male character who also appears as a different character. Oh man, in this iteration of the game, this version of the world, issues happen. They remake the game. The version of it that exists for GU comes out. Endurance is one of the characters that you're running into. That's Elk. But after you play through a portion of the game, Endurance becomes a romance option. You can have an in-game gay love relationship with Endurance, and you can take it as far as you're willing. And if you, for every character that exists as that option, you can navigate discussions with them and so on to the point of getting some end game additional content for the character that you are most accustomed to in those ways. And you can actually get like a love email from Endurance. And I think, oh man, I might be like putting my own headcanon in here. I can't remember. It's been so long. But I believe you can even have a sort of pseudo, like not really marriage, but like that kind of relation with a character in the games. So yeah, Elk swings both ways. Just putting that out there.
Check the gauge to see the type and number of virus cores you need to hack the gate. If you have all of the necessary virus cores, you can fill the gauge and hack the gate. After hacking the gate, the virus cores you had will be gone.
Another funny thing with that is even if you never reciprocate the attraction in the same way that Endurance does for Haseo in that series, he doesn't stop. So if you bring Endurance with you into various party lineups, he will still emphasize that he wants a ride on the Wavemaster Rod. Elk is a pendulum. He swings both ways.
Once you've hacked a gate, that area will be open to anyone. Do you understand?
So there you go. Break the walls down. But yeah, Elk as a character is also heavily designed in line with the primary character from the anime Dot Hack Sign. If you play Dot Hack Sign and you look at the mainline character there, I can't remember, I think it's Tsukasa. That character looks one way, and if you look at Elk, you can see that they are made to share the very same character model. Black Rose does the same thing with another character named Mimiru.
Protected areas.
Orca is the same with a character named Bear. That is not to say that every single character necessarily all looks the same. If you look at the other characters in the anime, a lot of them have a lot more unique stylized elements to them. Oh, okay. Yeah, they have a lot more unique stylized elements to them, but a couple of them are very specifically meant to look like the other characters from their anime or video game counterpart, depending on which way you're looking into that.
This spring has a string.
Alright, let's see here. We've given her a strange blade already. If we throw the other one in here, there's a chance it'll get worse or better. If it gets better, that means I have an upgraded weapon to give her.
Did you lose a golden
If Elk was a
egg?
pair of Yu-Gi-Oh! Pendulum
Or
monsters, his
was it a
pendulum scales would be
silver
6 and 9. Oh, very much so. And the fact that Elk as a character is, Elk in this part of the series is very much, he strongly gives off, like, not very sexual energy vibes. But then when you play through GU, and it is just obvious that he... I can't remember what class Haseo is. But yeah, no, like I said, okay, Haseo gets a motorbike. He definitely wants to take a ride on the on your personal. You know where I'm going. I'm dying it off there because I can't come up with anything reliable. I couldn't go the Wavemaster Rod bit again. That was too obvious. And I've got nothing now.
Let's see. Then is it this? Just between
He wants to
us.
ride on the loud open pipes. There we go. I came up with something. Using 6 and 9 to pendulum summon the Dark Magician, who is level 7. I'm disappointed not in you. I'm disappointed in myself.
With a weapon of this level, there's nothing I can go in.
Alright, still can't get anything for that, but we are getting
Till
some more
next
of the
time.
gold and silver axes. I'll take those wins where I can get them. They actually become much harder to get in later games. You really have to go out of your way to get the gold and silver axes at that point. Alright, what do we got? Oh, you're a big boy! Use another big boy. Come on, give me the data drain. Oh! Hold up, did we... Alright, we got a new Book of 1000. We also got a new weapon. Oh, I saw the clocks and I was super excited, hoping we got a buff. Alright, let me see if I can write that over. There we go. Oh, wait, hold up. I hear that. I heard the chest spawn. We are starting to get far enough along that I do want to start opening these. Mia, I am emphasizing even further everything going on, and now we've got a cougar bandana. Not only did we get a cougar bandana, but that is something we can give to Mistral. And it's good! No! Alright, Law Rep is basically repped for the whole party. And it's a very needed spell. It's better than base rep. And as long as you're running around with enough Mage's Souls, it's worth the trade-off for the extra cost. The overhealing is just always a little nice touch. I have achieved the first good. I'm not reading that out loud. Joke in history due to your oblivious nature when reading that. I have achieved meme enlightenment. I think the reason that one worked as well as it did is because it wasn't an immediate, again, 6-7 right next to each other, and I know I just said it out loud, but I'm explaining myself. I need to have this moment. It worked because it wasn't a direct 6-7 joke. It was a 6-7 joke layered within a story, and that gave it a little bit more substance. Meme elevation. Take your memes to new levels. Alright, pop a data drain. I am really starting to ramp up the data infection, though. As you can see, it's spreading around a little bit. Obviously, as with all viruses that are really worth avoiding to extreme extents, this virus begins its propagation around the crotch, too. Alright, now I'm slowed down again. There we go. Let me just ride this out for a bit. Can I ask you guys to, like, heal me up or something, please? Thank you. I didn't even need the healing, I just needed that slow removed. And I didn't want to use another speed scroll for it. Especially because I'm getting the sensation that I'm going to have that happen to me a lot in this dungeon. Ooh, hold up, Scorpion Tank? Yeah. Another enemy that is going to have a lot of iterations as the game goes through. This is one of those enemies that I mentioned about the card game that I picked up some packs for, that I was super excited to have. This is one of the items, or the enemies in that card game that I really like, just because, again, growing up, I thought the Scorpion tank looked so cool. Alright, Suvi Lee. What does that one do? Alright, doesn't look like it did anything. Actually, I can probably... Whoops. Let's see if they have access to it so that I can have an understanding of what was just done. Alright, none of my player characters have access to Suv Lee. Yeah, we're getting a little spicy around the crotch now. Really getting that burn on full showing. And yeah, if it wasn't made perfectly clear, I was in fact trying to give credit for an actually, I don't want to call it good, and that's more on principle than, you know, fact at this point, but, you know, an acceptable 6-7 meme. Holy shit, Mia, you are getting roughed up. Pop that health drink before you get your ass kicked again. Alright, I do kind of actually want the experience for fighting this thing, though. Alright, there we go. Devil's crotch is also a type of hot sauce. I've never had it. I don't think I would want to try Devil's crotch. I have seen those, like ghost pepper suckers that are like made to look like a toe. I believe those are referred to as devil's toe. I would probably, no, wait, hold on. I really need to think about that before I say it. There is a duality at play here. I might hate myself for what I'm gonna say, but I could see myself sucking on the devil's toe before I could see myself sucking at the devil's crotch. Oh no. Speaking of, get that shit out of here. Alright, right now, Mia is currently confused and she's gonna start beating my ass. But, you know, I think we can probably take it. If anything, these are just love taps. We got enough of a level difference. Yeah, 15 damage per swing is nothing. The other funny thing is, as I recall, when the spellcasters get confused, they actually don't start casting spells on you. That would be potentially game-busting. Like, magic in this game is no fucking joke when you start seeing the effects of, like, the effects of the elemental attacks at play. Alright, so yeah, we all got paralyzed for a moment. If anything, that just means we're not going to have to deal with the confusion anymore. But nobody can do anything or clear up the effects of the skills because we're all paralyzed. There we go. I just got rid of that! I don't... Stop it! Stop making me try to partake in the devil's crotch. This is not that stream. I bet Satan... I guarantee that there are many instances of people doing speculative garbage. I bet if there is not an AI rendition of a character pretending to be the devil, and they don't have a wiki feat, the internet has let me down. Whoops. Skills instead. Yeah, you saw what that one elemental hit did just there, and you can imagine some of the spells that rack up heavy hit runs. If you get hit but with several of those, you would just straight get fucked. Alright, we're making it near the end. What is kind of funny is as we're going through all of this, Mia did try to make it very clear that we have basically opened up the issues of this area to every other player out there. So if we don't deal with the threats here, what ended up happening with our buddy Orca, we could actually be opening the door for other people to come into if we were to tackle this issue and then have to walk away and have to go level up first. Narratively speaking, that's kind of what would end up happening.
If you approach a magic portal, data bugs will show up. If you data drain those bugs, you can get virus cores from them. There has to be a reason why you have that bracelet. You will go there to find out the reason, right?
The reason why I have this bracelet?
I cast stalactite. The enemy gets rammed from above. Oh, you know what? I might have something to do here. Hold on. Let me just. There we go. Let's ram them from above. Oh shit! They're doing the same back. They ain't fucking around. Elk is down. Oh, what's worse is I can't justify using too many resurrects. If he goes down beyond to I'm not dropping below 5 resurrects. I need to have those on hand for some really big upcoming fights. Alright, so I believe, yeah, this thing is earth. I don't think we have any grass skills yet. Let me check my personal skill list. Nope. So I am pretty much down to using my items for this instead of anything else. Because this is a data bug, though, the tornado skills are kind of the better way to go about this. Anything with mass hit range is going to be the way to go. Oh shit, that's right. When Elk went down, he didn't get any of his magic back. All we did was restore his HP. There we go. Alright, well, Mia, I'm leaving that healing up to you. Thank you. Alright, we gotta be getting close to it here. God, I do so little damage to you. Oh, hey, Elk actually has the ability to recover from death right now. That's really nice to know. Oh, one of the other things worth noting about this this game over a lot of other JRPGs, we have a designated player character, something that a lot of JRPGs will do. However, one of the things that this game does that a lot of other ones don't do, this is gonna hurt a lot. Oh, for some reason I thought that had multiple hits in it. It only had the one. There we go. But yeah, is when Kite dies, that's not the end of it. So if other characters do have the ability to resurrect Kite, you can keep going through, bring Kite back into the fight, and even if you can't, we have another, Fire Tempest. Even if you can't bring other characters back into it that way, you can actually run around with some of them as party ghosts, and it's really not a game over until everyone of the party actually drops. Again, something that is not inherently new per se. Other games have done it. However, I do appreciate, rock skills are just pointless. This thing is taking a ridiculous amount of time to trigger the data break. There we go. I am not gonna miss my opportunity. I'm gonna pop a Mage's Soul, and I'm just gonna go right into it. I assume the that's handy is about the idea that just because your player character goes down doesn't mean it's a game over. And yes, it is very handy, especially, I've mentioned the end of the, not the end, but there are primary boss fights. We got a couple of them name dropped earlier, Skeeth, Enos, and Magus. Fighting those fights are long, tedious. I guarantee you they're not going to be the most entertaining element of the streams per se, because they drag on a fair bit, as JRPGs of this era tended to. However, they are going to have opportunities to stack up and really punch me in the throat. And when they do that, ooh, we've even got hot crotch now. We have entered that stage of the virus. There we go. And unfortunately, I'm probably gonna want to do another data drain, because this guy is gonna be sitting on a lot of health here. Alright, you know what? Let me see my Mage's Soul on Elk, on Mia, and on me. I don't want to sit here through too much more of this. God, Mia, why? Why are you getting your ass kicked? You're burning through so many of my items. Alright, well, do I have any more? I have one more. Bought myself enough time to be able to data drain it. Fingers crossed I don't have anything too negative happen. Alright, overall, not too bad. My ass was put to sleep, but, you know, they can deal with it at this point. God, I hope they can deal with it at this point. They are... You guys are not doing too well. There we go. Thank you, Elk.
This bracelet actually belongs to my friend.
Alright, we told Mia everything that happened. I am getting to the point at trying to wrap up here. I believe I missed my window that I was trying to do here. But luckily, it looks like the situation going on in the Discord is going to give me the window to make this not too terrible. So hopefully we're good with that.
But I am interested interested in what you are going to do with the bracelet in the future. Well, that's about it. If there's anything I can do to help you, I'll try my best.
Thanks.
There's no need to thank me. I'm just doing what I want to do.
As a cat would.
Yeah.
So, fun fact, I don't know if we've gotten the comment about it yet. I think there might have been something about it when we first met Elk and Mia. But there is an item in the game that does almost nothing, but Mia is obsessed with it, and it is literally just called aromatic grass. I assume it is supposed to be a catnip preference. Alright. So, with all that said, I do want to make sure that nothing is going to happen when we log... Ooh. Oh, yeah. Our fire crotch is getting a little dangerous there. We're going to log out here and make sure nothing massively triggers when I go to the main menu, just in case I decide to do what I did last time and do a little grinding. Awesome. So overall, nothing is going to force me into further details, so I'm going to go down to the data here. I'm going to save the game. Thank you so much, everybody, for stopping in. I hope you have a good one. I hope to see you next time, and I'm looking forward to playing through more of this game as we continue on. Anyways, thank you so much, everybody, for stopping in. Again, have a good one. See you next time. Bye-bye.